We are going to study chapter number 1. Chapter number 1, pages 4 to 7. Contents: short introduction, Swiss Family Robinson. Chapter 1, reading, vocabulary words, summary web, exercise of chapter number 1, and answer key. So firstly, we will have a reading of chapter number 1. Before starting the reading of chapter number 1, let me share with you a short introduction of the Swiss Family Robinson. The Swiss Family Robinson is a book about a family that gets stranded on an island after their boat crashes. They have very many fun adventures, including dangerous animals, taming wild animals, and building their city into something comfortable. Chapter number 1. Let's start reading. Lieutenant Bell has been a sailor for many years. He spent a long time at sea and he faced a lot of difficulties on his voyages. Pirates are a great danger, and there have been terrifying moments during storms when huge waves nearly swallowed his ship, the Adventurer. "If you love me and our children, you won't go another voyage." His wife keeps begging, urging him to stop traveling and find a job on land. "If you love me, then you know that what you ask is impossible," he always answers. "The sea is my life, and I cannot imagine myself away from it." During his last trip, Lieutenant Bell kept remembering his wife's words as the Adventurer struggled with waves the size of mountains. The ship was traveling in the South Seas when a terrible storm started, blowing it far away and off its course. For 3 days, the ship shook, tossed here and there by wild winds, and everybody thought they were lost forever. Then suddenly a voice was heard, "Land ahead." A strip of land was visible far away, and the crew managed to take the ship there and anchor it. It was a quiet, natural port on what would look like an island. "We can stay here for a while and repair our ship," said Captain Johnson. "When the storm stops, we will set sail again." A little later, the men set off to explore. They were surprised to find a small boat and a tent house further up the shore. Inside were some clay pots and oyster shells, and also furniture and other comforts. It was clear that they were not the first men on the island. Lieutenant Bell called one of the men as he came out of a small forest nearby. He rushed towards the officer, followed by a middle-aged stranger dressed in European clothes and carrying a big leather bag. The stranger looked friendly, even though he had a gun. "Finally, after all these years," cried the man in a trembling voice. "Thank God you are here." "My goodness," the lieutenant thought. "It's Robinson Crusoe himself." The man was a Swiss pastor who had been shipwrecked with his wife and 4 children when their ship crashed onto a rock. The crew had disappeared in the storm, and they were nowhere to be seen afterwards. "We were extremely lucky to be saved together as a family," said the pastor. "We were on our way to Australia to start a new life, but instead of that, we had to start a new life on this island. We have been here for 4 years," he added. Lieutenant Bell told him that the ship was on its way to England when the storm stopped them. "Would you like to come abroad?" asked Bell. "You can meet the captain and discuss your family's rescue with him," he suggested. "We can all meet here tomorrow morning," answered the man. I should return to my family and prepare them for our departure, he explained. I didn't want to alarm them when I saw your ship through my looking glass, so they don't know anything about it yet. I must hurry home and tell them the boys will be thrilled, he said with a big smile. Then he took a diary out of his bag and put it in Lieutenant Bell's hand. Here is our story, he said. If something happens, I would like you to give this to my brother in Switzerland. Now I must go, he added. There is so much to do. This is a picture in which you can see that Lieutenant Bell is talking with Pastor along with one of his men. Students, these are some of the vocabulary words. Now let's start with a summary. Firstly, we will have a summary web. I will read some points for you. Number 1. Lieutenant Bell, a sailor, spent a lot of time at sea. Number 2. His wife forbade him to go on a sea voyage. Number 3. Lieutenant Bell refused to his wife and went on an adventure. Number 4. Terrible storm caught the ship at South Seas. Number 5. For 7 days the ship shook and tossed here and there. Number 6. The men started to explore the island. Number 7. Lieutenant Bell met with the pastor. Number 8. Pastor was already living there with his family. Number 9. Conversation between pastor and Lieutenant Bell. Number 10. Pastor gave him a diary to give to his brother in Switzerland. So these are some of the main points of the summary. Now students, write a summary in your own words using the points given in the summary web. Words limit 50 to 60 words. Now students, let's start with the exercise of chapter number 1. Comprehension. You have to do the true and false by reading the chapter thoroughly. Second question is choose A, B or C to complete the following sentences. Vocabulary. Exercise 3. Complete the sentences using the words in the box in the correct form. You will have to select the verbs they have given you in the block and you have to put appropriately in the following blanks. Exercise 4. Find the words in chapter number 1 to match the definitions below. The first letter has been given to you. Now students, they have given you the first letter. You have to sort out the given pages mentioned over here and find the word. This is the answer key.